Listened to and viewed from over 95 countries from around the world, this is the Gridcast. And I am your host, Danny Cox. And with me is my co-host. He's a box owner and a grid enthusiast. And hey, have you ever looked up what grid actually used to mean? Hey, by the way, his name's Connor Bruce. How you doing?
Oh, wow. We did find that out the other day. I'm not even going to say what it is.
You're going to have to look it up for yourself.
You're going to have to educate yourself. Here's what's exciting about this show. So it's not exciting that we're not coming out on time. We postponed coming out on our regular Wednesdays because at Impavidus here, CrossFit Impavidus Gym here in Aspen, Virginia.
Shameless plug. We have instituted a thing called Grid Fridays, and what we did is we took gridleague.com, their program. So every week on gridleague.com, if you guys haven't checked that out, you got to go see it. If you own a gym or a part of a gym anywhere in the country, go check it out. And what they do is every week they put out a race of the week, a match of the week, and they lay out 3 races: partner forward, Jack and Jill, and a sprint relay. And it works, man. We've been doing it here in our gym for, I think this is the 4th week. We started it kind of internal at first, kind of testing it out, and then now we open it to the public. Like, we don't even care if you're a member here because we want to teach people how to play grid, and it's awesome. Yeah, I mean, take a look around a little bit. You can take a look.
We've got over 50 people here.
The keg is tapped, by the way.
The keg is always tapped. CrossFit Impavidus, we've had beer in this gym since the day it opened, and that will always be the case. That's why we work out. But here's the thing. Like last week, we had almost 70 people show up to race. Yep. Some of them have never heard of grid. If you're in this gym and you haven't heard of grid, you've got.
Well, there's something wrong because there's a huge grid rig in the middle of it.
But we have visitors from other gyms here tonight, other local CrossFit boxes, which is awesome. We're always welcoming. And here's the deal, though. So just to let you guys know how this works. So you take the Grid Anywhere, and you don't have to use their programming. I mean, you could easily put together your own stuff.
Gridleague.com, not Grid Anywhere. That's the map.
I'm sorry. Yeah. Gridleague.com. But I thought, hey, you know what? Let's use the programming, because that way, if we all wanted to start putting our scores or our time, or then we can all kind of like, maybe they can compete against each other. We don't know how that's going to work out.
That'd be really cool.
It would be really cool to go like across the country in boxes doing it at night. And but here's the thing: what we have realized is, first of all, they're doing a really good job of programming races.
Yes.
And the match in general, because what happens is it's really simple. So you got the partner forward set up. We just use tape. Now we're actually going to paint. We're actually going to paint lines because we have a real Eleiko grid and everything.
And you just showed me the system we're going to use for the painting, which is going to be pretty cool.
It's pretty sick.
I actually want to kind of help out with that.
Yeah, so we're going to paint all the grid lines and everything. But look, so what if you don't have an Eleiko rig? So what if you don't have, painted lines on your floor? We just threw out tape. And the athletes don't care. It works, right?
Yeah, totally
tape,
works.
and if you have a regular rig, like we have down there, we have a regular Rogue rig too. Whatever it is, you don't even need a rig, right? I mean, Alan Fitzpatrick out over in Ireland has been doing grid races, and he doesn't have any rig in the middle.
He has nothing in the middle. He's on the side.
Right.
But it still works.
You know what? You can play grid anywhere. It's not just a saying. But so here's what we do, though, is we tell everybody we're going to play. We bring everybody in. You go sign up on a whiteboard and make your teams of 4. And we got red team, blue team. All the matches are all the races are about a 4-minute time cap, and we have somebody working the timer. There's no refs, and everybody goes, well, how do you keep it legit? It's pickup basketball. It's pickup.
When we played shirts
football.
And skins, right? Nobody. And it's kind of fun. You might be like, oh, dude, that was a total foul. Like if you go, that was a no rep. Well, then you can tell your boys when you lost that race, like, they totally weren't doing their reps, yo.
Yeah, we've had a few times where people didn't go below parallel, and I'll tell you what's cool is because. It's not because they're trying to cheat. It's because they've realized the grid is so fast. Like, I got to move. And so
people learn that quick here.
Right. They're kind of shortchanging it, and you have to pull them aside. So we give a briefing now. Again, lesson learned. We give a briefing at the beginning. Tell the standards. Say, hey, you got to be legit. You know what? It kind of clears itself up. People got a lot better with the movements.
We also have a pro athlete here that's helping.
We do.
And we've seen a lot of it, so we kind of help
Tracy
out a little
Close
bit too.
from the Baltimore Anthem is representing out here. We've had a couple other pro grid athletes roll through that are going to come hang out with us. But I'm just telling you guys, we wanted to do a little spot about this because we figured this would give you guys out there that watch the show. If you don't own a gym, but you're a part of one, most of you are, go tell your gym owner, your box owner, that this is easy. And if you have any questions about how to do it, email info@midatlanticgrid.com. So with that shameless plug, again,
and then when you also do it, like take pictures of it,
Put
it up on our page.
Yeah.
Like, link us, tag us in anything you can.
Hashtag.
We want to see it from around the country, and then we'll link everyone together.
Hashtag Gridcast all day long. We see that on Twitter and on Facebook. And then I'm sure the league, the MPGL, will jump in there. Shameless plug about the Mid-Atlantic Grid League. We just kicked off. Our website is up and live. You can find it at themagl.com.
Woohoo!
Themagl.com. We're going to have a recreational league division, an amateur division. So anybody of any level is going to be able to compete in grid. The NEGL, the SAGL, everybody's right behind us. This is going to be a lot of grid happening all across the country.
Can I have the nickname as the commish?
For the MAGL?
Yeah, no, for the rec.
Oh, for the rec league. Yes, you are the commissioner.
Danny, the commish Cox.
I'm the commissioner for the amateur league.
Hey, commish.
Done.
Nice.
All right, but we really wanted to do this segment mostly to show you guys this is extremely possible. It's very easy. Doesn't take much setup. We're not using a lot of, yes, we have Eleiko grid bars and Eleiko weights and an Eleiko rig. We are lucky to have all that, but it doesn't take that. We're using other equipment, doesn't matter.
Right. And it's also scalable. Look, your daughter's out there.
Yeah, my daughter plays grid every Friday night.
And she's playing against all the adults too, but the difference is you can scale hers, right? It doesn't
we
really
just
matter.
give her a different weighted kettlebell, no big deal. So they're doing, I think, Jack and Jill right now. I'm not sure if I'd count those air squats.
Yeah, right.
I want to yell at him, but I don't want to blow your guys' ear.
Yeah,
you're not going all the way up.
But there's your daughter. Don't look. Don't look.
But it's cool because we have all ages come out. We don't, so we scale it a little bit. None of the teams care. Everybody plays. It's literally
it's a great community event.
It's so much more fun to play grid than to just work out.
Yeah, absolutely.
And our Friday night classes have gone to little to nothing because they want to save it to come to Grid Fridays. We do it from 7 p.m. till 9 p.m., 2 hours, and we're packed the whole time.
The 3 race matches.
Yeah, the 3 races. And I tell you what, a match takes about 15 minutes. And then what we do is we tell the team that just went, right, so the first team goes. From then on, the team that just went, they help out with equipment. So no refs.
Yep.
It's all buddy system. Now, when I say no refs, there's usually like myself and a couple other coaches walking around. We got a cool sound system here with a microphone. So we're talking, and we might call out a couple people if they're doing something a little shady or whatever. And usually, I'm telling you guys, don't get too hung up on that. This is all for fun. I've never seen anybody shaving reps or anything like that. It's usually because grid is so fast, they're not used to like, oh, my God, I go faster. Well, you start compromising technique. So what we do is we educate them, and we say, hey, guys, look, just because you go faster, you still got to be legit. Now, we wouldn't do that at the amateur level or the recreational level. This is way below that. So don't get too. I know there's a few
for
people.
Everybody coming out.
Right, and I know people are going to. There's a few people going to get their panties in a wad, and they're going to be like, "Oh, but that's not legit, bro."
We saw those freaking comments.
Exactly. Relax.
Come on,
relax,
just take
Francis.
a freaking chill pill.
Relax, Francis. This is fun.
And I'm sorry for not getting out the show on Wednesday. We had to show you guys this. We really felt passionate about that
because we couldn't do Grid Wednesday. It would just f everything up.
Right, it would.
So check out themagl.com. Learn all about Mid-Atlantic Grid League. If you're in a part of the country that doesn't have a grid league, start one and start playing because this is too easy.
And then coming up next, we have Tyler Cummings from San Fransisco Fire. He tells us what he's going to be doing on the off season, what to look out for. If you're an amateur athlete out there, we talked for a good 5-10 minutes out there. If you're an amateur league out there, listen to his advice, okay? He's going to give you some pretty stellar advice on what to do to get noticed by a pro team for this next year.
All right.
All right, guys? So let's go ahead and start the show. Hey guys, I am joined with Tyler Cummings from the San Fransisco Fire, and they just wrapped up the season in the playoffs in Anaheim, California. And I just want to say welcome to the show, man.
Hey, thanks a lot, man. Happy to be on. Honored.
Oh, awesome. So what have you got going on for the off season right now after the playoffs and the season was over?
Rest first. I mean, so right now, it's gearing up for getting back in CrossFit shape. So that's getting ready for the Open, really.
And so what does that mean, trying to get into CrossFit shape? What is the difference? What
Yeah,
are the
so
training
it's just
differences?
a little different. So I didn't obviously. You watched our matches. I didn't do a whole lot of gymnastics. So that for I have to get back in gymnastics shape. Body weight stuff. I'm a heavier guy, but I can do I can do a fair amount. So, getting back in touch with those skills, dusting off the rust, and then
Well, online it
obviously,
says you're 6'1", 210
yeah.
pounds. Is that right?
No, so yeah, the grid season, I put on a little extra weight just doing barbell work. So I'm like, I fluctuate like 225, 230.
Was that intentional?
Yeah, for sure. Cause, I was aware of the role I was going to play. I figured I usually CrossFit season, I dropped down to like 215, 210. And so, things felt great. Things were light, but the weights were definitely heavier. So yeah, it was intentional for sure.
So what is the difference in your training routine going from grid back to CrossFit?
A lot shorter, choppier sessions throughout the day, and then just a lot more variety. I mean, I did a fair amount of different things in grid, but a lot of it was just a lot of barbell cycling, Olympic weightlifting, barbell cycling. So um, do a lot more swimming, running, things like that.
How many days a week do you train?
6 days. I take Sunday off completely, and then Wednesday I do either a run or a swim. But I've been favoring the swim lately because my joints are still like recovering from this the last season.
So what was the hardest thing on your body, do you think? I mean, you said your joints just now, but what do you think the hardest thing on your body, and why was it hard on your body in grid season?
Yeah, it's just like 0 to 100 a bunch of times in a match, man. I mean, it was difficult, and I think that it had a lot to do with how we played in our last match, the semifinals. I think we were kind of hoping that it would be a little easier than it was, just based on how we felt going into that match. I know me personally, I'm young and I'm pretty healthy, but this season definitely beat me up with all of the Olympic weightlifting. It's not like they're all tests, right? The match is a series of tests, and so
Yep.
you test all the time. So, and this is the second season, so coaches are still figuring stuff out. I'm glad I wasn't a part of the testing crew in the first season around, because I heard stories of what season was like last year. So
Oh my God, can you imagine what that would have been like? That would be rough.
yeah,
Because I
yeah,
know that people didn't understand what kind of toll it was taking on the body to do a grid season. And it is different than the type of toll that regionals or the CrossFit Games in California does to your body. It's different, but it still sucks. so,
yeah. No,
so
it definitely does.
do you still communicate a lot with your teammates?
A couple. I'm local, and I know that, and some of the guys on my team were local here, but not too much. When I came back home, just everything kind of went back into full swing again. So once yeah, I don't talk to them too often. A couple of them I do.
Yeah. So I know that the last little bit there, San Francisco decided to keep the team together more than the other teams did through your
Yeah,
training regimen and stuff like that. And I do know, or at least I've heard, that going into that last match in the semifinals, people got a little under the weather, let's say, on the team. How much do you
yeah.
think that affected your last match?
I don't want to place too much on the ailments and illnesses that we had going into the match, but I mean it did affect us. But champions are supposed to be able to overcome that stuff. So I'm not going to, take away from what the Rise did. They absolutely, performed really, really well. So, but yeah, I mean, Gerald Sasser got the stomach flu. We had a match run through 3 days before our match against Rise, and he got the stomach flu that morning. And then I got it about an hour before our match run through. And then, as you know, Will Hall was pretty beat up from like weeks. Our last match against LA, he was still pretty beat up. Wasn't able to fully recover, and as you saw with the cleans and stuff at the end, so, and the girls, there's a couple sicknesses going around for them too. I don't know. It was pretty crazy. We were really hoping that it wasn't going to affect us, but it kind of did.
You guys did a very good job of keeping it under the radar, because before the match I had no clue, and I was even in one of the
Yeah.
houses, interviewing Jolene. So I was pretty surprised actually to find out later on that you guys were sick. So I had predicted you guys to win that match, and
Yeah.
so I was kind of surprised, but it did look like something was like maybe a little off, like maybe you guys were feeling sick or tired or something that was different on that matchup than previous matchups that or matches that I've seen you guys
Yeah.
play in before. So okay, let's skip all that though. So now we're going into the CrossFit season. Are you looking at
True.
any competitions coming up real soon that you're going to be participating in?
Yeah. Wadapalooza in January. I've
Okay.
been wanting to do that one for a while. I'm pretty stoked. I'm doing it with Buddy Hitchcock and Josh Phillips. Buddy Hitchcock's on my team, and then Josh Phillips is on the reserves for LA Reign.
Oh,
So
nice.
yeah.
Yeah, actually, we've been wanting to try to get in touch with Buddy Hitchcock for quite a while. We almost caught up with him at the American Open
Oh yeah,
in December, but unfortunately, our schedules just could not match up at the
yeah,
time. Seems to be a really good dude. Heard nothing but great
yeah.
things about him.
No, he is. I enjoyed getting to train with the dude. He's pretty close to me too. I'm in Sacramento, and he's in where is he? In close to Stockton, a little more southeast. But yeah, so I'll probably be able to go train down there with him and Josh Phillips. But yeah, he's a sweet dude. Really busy now. I think he's doing something with caffeine and kilos. He's doing some like Olympic weightlifting tour or something like that with them. But yeah,
It's awesome. Yeah,
so
yeah. He was. Kevin and Keel is helping him go through the match. I don't know if it was Danny or I can't remember the other guy's name right now, but I don't know which one was trying to get him
Charlie.
through. Yeah.
Yeah, Charlie.
Yeah, Charlie, getting him through the match and coaching him through. I don't know which one it was, but I remember talking because we actually interviewed Caffeine and Kilos during the American Open
Oh,
during
right
that
on.
time frame. Yeah. So all right. So after the CrossFit season coming up, do you play in any other sports? Do you do weightlifting or anything like that too?
Yeah, so I've competed in a couple local weightlifting comps, and I think that last year I said I was gonna, if I didn't make regionals, then I'd just do weightlifting because I enjoy weightlifting. As long as I'm not doing like 2 a days and like doing it 6 days a week. That's when you start. I don't know. That's when you start feeling it. So I enjoy the balance of CrossFit, but I think the weightlifting side of things is a little more intriguing to me. So I've done a couple local meets. That's fun. So I'll probably pursue that if I don't. I think this year if I don't make regionals, then I'll probably transition to just doing grid and like weightlifting.
Yeah, I find a lot of athletes are doing that. My wife is actually one of those. She is a pretty good CrossFitter, but she's a much better weightlifter.
Yeah.
And she actually made the regionals in St. Louis
Oh,
this
right
past
on.
year. So she's
Good
pretty
for
good at
her.
it. And now she's training actually for the amateur grid season.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that looks like it might kick off in our area around January. We're going to have an invitational at the MAGL. We actually hold it at our facility. We have a full grid rig on the other side of this door, actually,
Dude,
right
that's
over there.
exciting to hear. That's super awesome.
Yeah, we have 14,000 square foot facility, huge grid rig, and we do pickup
Wow.
grid on Friday nights for the
No
community.
way.
Yeah, pickup grid on Friday nights, and then we have MAGLs going to be run out of here, and then a rec league as well. So it's
That's
going to be
rad.
pretty exciting. Yeah. So we're
Wow.
all in on grid over here.
Did you guys have a team in the tournament?
No, we did not. We did it first, but then we ran into some complications with the coach,
Okay.
and so we
Okay.
actually got an invite, but then we had to actually pull out.
Oh no.
Unfortunately, yeah, it's a long story that I can't get
But
get into on the
you guys
show.
were trying, huh? You guys had a team together,
Oh,
huh?
we
That's
had a
awesome.
fantastic team together.
Yeah.
Actually, I'm pretty sure that so basically at the end of all that and I guess people can hear this now. So at the end of all that, when we had our complications, we tried to find places for our athletes on other people's teams,
Yeah.
the best that we possibly could, and I think we got like 6 of them on other people's teams.
Right on.
But they were pretty damn good on the other teams. I know that if we had everyone together, we'd have a pretty damn good chance of winning the whole
Yeah.
thing. So we're pretty close, and we still have a team still exists kind of. If we want to go to an invitational like on the East Coast, we could probably pull everyone together and
Yeah.
go if we wanted to. Which we may look at that in future, but busy doing other things as of right now.
Right on.
So okay, so you got Wadapalooza in January, and
Yep.
then the preseason will be pretty soon after that again for grid. When do you
Yeah.
start switching gears again and going more grid focused?
Yeah, I don't know. It'll be really new for me if I make regionals and having to juggle that because pretty much last year didn't make regionals, obviously, and I went team last year just to get a little more experience with the scene and stuff. So that was cool. But obviously I didn't have to train hard, and I was kind of transitioning already. But that was actually because I had to go through the whole recruiting process, so this was my rookie season. So it'll be different going into a season next year where I know I'm going to be on the team. So I'll probably start even a little earlier, and that'll just depend whether I make it to regionals or not.
Okay.
So
Did you end up? What was the pro day that you went to?
San Francisco. So
And
it
then
was right at
Did you end up going to the combine in DC as well?
I did, man. I made the trip, and I didn't have any leads. Like I didn't have, like I talked to a couple scouts, there and there, but nothing like really promising. And so I was like, well, I got invited, so I guess I'm going to go for it if I actually really want to, see if I'm going to make it onto a team. So I flew out there, and even then, I didn't have any real promising conversations with anybody until the very end. I talked to Pyam. I don't know if you probably know Pyam.
Yeah.
And so he basically said they were going to be looking at me. They're looking at me seriously. And then I think like the next day, he asked me to like do the overhead walking lunge test with the double kettlebells, which is funny because I didn't even do that in this whole season. Which is fine. It's grueling, but like.
Did you make it all 80 feet?
Oh yeah, for sure. I had to. Yeah, I had to. I think it was so hard to make to stand out with like. I mean, there's so many good athletes on there. You've interviewed all of them basically. So it was hard to do anything amazing that would just like stand out. So basically, it was my height and then not being sucky at anything else. So it was like. So that's the point. Basically, they needed the burpee ring touch guy. We lost last year because of those burpee ring touches. Buddy actually had to try to do them. So
yeah.
So they were like, I guess we're not going to make the mistake again. So obviously, I can do the burpee ring touches. So he told me when they were drafting, he's like, all right, we're going to draft you. So
hey, you're actually wearing the combine shirt right now.
Oh yeah, I am. I have like a ton of them in my drawer. Every time it seems like, all right, I'm not going to wear a grid shirt today probably, and pull it out, and there it is. It's another MPGL shirt. So
I think my entire wardrobe for CrossFit when I go to the CrossFit
I'm telling
gym is all grid.
Yeah, seriously. Now
from last year and this year, I think it's everything grid.
Yeah, one more season, and I'm going to have like no normal clothes anymore. It's just going to be all grid clothes.
So how did you end up finding CrossFit? So what kind of sports did you do growing up, and then how did you find CrossFit itself?
Yeah, so kind of like it's funny when you asked if I was if I could come on. I went and listened to a couple of podcasts just to see what kind of people he had on there, and I was listening to Nick Block. He's a cool guy. I remember him from the combine. I was like, dude, this guy's strong.
Yeah.
Real cool dude. So I grew up playing sports since I was 4. I played 3 sports all year long: baseball, basketball, soccer. So I played that all the way up through middle school, and I played basketball, soccer, and I played baseball for 2 years in high school and gave up baseball. And then I was playing soccer and basketball. Quit soccer my junior year. I started exercising with weights, right? So that consisted of the golden age, bodybuilding, isolated muscle groups, stuff like that. Sure. And the sole purpose was to put on weight. I was not 6 foot, and I was not close to even 200 pounds. So.
Well, you had to put on the weight and the muscles for the ladies back then. I mean, that was the whole reason.
Dude, that was all that matters. And that was enough motivation to go through a lot of pain and be very committed. So it's crazy what that'll do.
If you're not chasing tail, you're just trying to chase some food, and that's about it when you're that age.
I mean, seriously. Yeah. Yeah. So I wish that I committed to sports a little more. I had a fair amount of talent, but I just didn't have the commitment to the sports for whatever reason. I don't know what it was. Maybe I played too many of them and couldn't just bring it down to one that I was committed to. So then I put on some weight, a substantial amount of weight, even in 1 year. And decided to play football in my last year. I never played. My parents didn't let me play and grow up and stuff like that. You get hurt, which is funny because, soccer is like ridiculously like injurious. Like
Oh yeah.
people get jacked up all the time.
My parents
you
did the
know,
same thing. I was a baseball player. They wouldn't let me play football because my dad
yeah,
got some blood clot when he was like blood clot in his brain when he was in high school.
uh,
He ended up being fine, later. But because of that, they wouldn't let me have it. And I was like, they played with leather helmets back then, of course. Like, come on.
yeah. So I couldn't. Yeah. So I finally played, and they didn't really know where to put me. I was probably like the third biggest guy on the team. But I played soccer, so I could kick. So I did kicking, and then I played fullback, running back.
When you were a kicker, were you really playing football? I mean, when you're a fullback and a running back, sure, you're playing football.
Yeah. I
You're a
know.
kicker, are
Yeah.
you
So
really playing football?
kickoff. Yeah, you're not really playing.
That's for Conan, by
much.
the way, when he rewatches this.
Yeah, huh? Yeah. No, it's true. We had a guy that I remember. We had a guy on our soccer team all through high school on varsity that he would be 30 minutes late to practice every day because he kicked for the football team, and he was like, he would not, he'd get crushed. He's not playing football. He's just out there kicking a football.
Right.
So yeah.
That's awesome. That's funny.
Yeah. So I played all those sports all the way growing up, and when I dropped baseball, I actually picked up volleyball. So I played that 3 years. And honestly, that was probably the most fun that I had playing volleyball. And then, yeah, that was the end of my sports career. Found CrossFit about 2 years later, continued to bodybuild through that. I did one physique show, and then that was it. I was like, that's not my crowd or my thing.
Were you starving?
No, actually I wasn't. I probably came in a little too heavy. I was lean enough. I've never had a problem with being too lean, but I was too muscular for like for the physique for the look. So, but yeah, it just wasn't my crowd. Everybody's sizing each other up. It's not much of a like tight knit community. It's more about put your headphones on and walk around, kind of like powerlifting meets or something.
Right.
So. But yeah, that was the end. And then I found CrossFit a little bit later. My friend introduced me to it. And then I was kind of like half and half. I was like, I'll do my curls, and then I'll go do a CrossFit class after that.
Right.
And so I would walk over from a Globo gym and over to a CrossFit gym, which was just literally from one parking lot to another in the same shopping center. And I would walk over after like an hour of, hitting shoulders and tries. And then I'd go over there and they'd make me do like all these gay kipping things. And then so I really enjoyed the Olympic weightlifting. I'd never even heard of it, man. I was like, what's Olympic weightlifting? What the snatch and clean and jerk? It took me like 2 months to even know the terminology that they use for Olympic weightlifting. So, but I was hooked after that. So, and then I was like, dude, there's competitions. This is great.
That's awesome. So,
yeah.
Are you a coach at a box right now or not?
Yeah. So I did a lot of general CrossFit classes. I coached for the same guy that introduced me to CrossFit, opening up a box like a year after I started doing CrossFit. And so I helped him open it up and had been coaching with him. But then I stopped while I basically moved to the Bay Area for Grid. And so coming back, I got some experience as a coach, and that was good, but it's not really like my passion. So I enjoy teaching the Olympic weightlifting. So that's what I'm doing now. I just coach. I run a barbell club basically, and it's like we run it in like 6-week cycles. So
nice.
I do that twice a week, and then so
that's cool. So, all right. So you went through the whole process last year. You went to the pro day and then the combine,
I did.
like you said. A lot of our audience, a large portion of our audience, are amateur athletes that are looking to possibly try to get into the pros, or maybe the recreational trying to get into the amateurs. But I'm trying to talk to those those amateur athletes right now trying to make it to the pros. What advice would you give them in this next year moving forward to get noticed through training, whatever, in this next year?
Yeah. I would say definitely and I thought I was what I'm going to say. I think that you definitely need to be a student of the sport early on. Like, even though it's only the second season, like you should absolutely have watched your fair share of, like, if you're serious about trying to get noticed and stuff, you need to understand the sport or you're not going to be able to shine. So, having an understanding, I mean, we had people at the pro day that didn't like I even understand how the races went. Like these are people that were trying to get, noticed by people, and you don't understand
And they ask
how,
a question like, "What's an AMRAP? Like, why aren't there any AMRAPs in here?"
yeah, why are we moving from one box to the other? Why can't he do reps when, she's not? And it's like, um, so yeah, there was, so have an understanding going into it if you're actually really serious, and because it's only going to get more and more competitive, just as you've seen CrossFit over the years.
We saw
And
a large jump from year 1 to year 2. So
absolutely,
I
and that's going
totally
to be
understand
exponential,
that.
I believe, over because of the stage that CrossFit has already, prepared.
Yep.
There's freaking how many people are into CrossFit? Like,
Yep.
it's still growing, and
And this is
so
pulling in people from not just the CrossFit realm too.
yeah, yeah,
So
no, exactly,
absolutely.
yeah. So I mean, it has the potential to grow larger than CrossFit. So yeah, the amateurs out there, be consistent, hone in on your specialty, but you don't want to be, because you don't know how you'll get used. And when you get on your team, it is good to be amazing at what you're good at, but you don't want to be a stick in the mud when it comes to being able to do basic stuff like pull-ups, because there's some filler exercises sometimes that
Sure.
if you can't do those, you're going to sit the bench, because the guy over there, maybe he's half a second slower than you, but he can actually do that other movement. Or there's only 2 substitutions. So you have to be, that's what I learned this season, is that I couldn't just be good. If I was just good at cycling barbells and jumping, and I was slow, I couldn't sprint, maybe I couldn't do any handstand push-ups or things like that, I probably wouldn't have gotten played a lot of the matches, because there's only 2 substitutions. So what are you going to do if there's a lot of strategy that comes into it. So you don't want to be weak in every area. So I think a lot of it applies the same as CrossFit. You definitely want to hone in on don't have so many weaknesses. It is a specialized sport. That's where you can shine, but you don't want to be so useless
You know,
in every other movement.
a prime example of that is so Taylor Stallings is obviously known as a big barbell mover
Yeah.
for the DC Brawlers, but you have to be serviceable in other type of movements. One thing that surprised
Yeah.
me is you saw Taylor Stallings jump up and
Doing
do a few
muscle
muscle
ups.
ups, right?
Heck
She's
yeah.
doing a few
Danny
muscle ups,
Nichols.
waiting for someone else to come in who could do them faster. But you
Heck
have to be
yeah.
serviceable to knock out those 2 or 3 while you're waiting for your sub to come in, right?
Yep.
Or that transition, and that can be applied to anything, because you never know what style of match formats are coming up. Are you going to have to do a handstand push up? Are you going to do deficits? Or you going to do like what kind
Yep.
of movements are you going to have to do if you're a barbell specialist that may go
Yep.
into the more of the body weight movements? Okay, so.
Mm-hmm.
So, other than being a student of the sport, which I think is a very good thing to be, when you're at the pro days,
Mm-hmm.
how do you get someone to notice you there?
Yeah, I honestly wish I had more to speak on that, because I don't think I did a really amazing job at being, annoying or having a special story going into it or anything like that. I really took it seriously. I performed as hard as I could. Um, so I mean, just be friendly, be willing to make friends when you're there. The connections are priceless, and opportunities that can come of that are really well worth your time, even if you don't get advanced to the next level. And then just be willing to learn. But as far as getting noticed, it's I mean, I saw it. There's tons of guys out there that would go up to scouts and um, try to make conversation and stuff like that, which I did with a couple people, but I wasn't like,
I'm sure that helped, because here's the thing. So, I went to a lot of the pro days
yeah,
for the podcast, and we would see outstanding athletes who were there. And if they sat in the corner right after they were
yeah,
done and they were just doing their own little thing and not talking to anybody, and they put headphones on and just kind of doing their own their own
yeah,
beats,
yeah,
um, they may have even been better than the people who were chosen to go to the combine, eventually picked by a team.
yeah.
But since they didn't give that player attitude and cheer for other people and have that
Hmm.
camaraderie with others, or look interested by even talking to the coaches and stuff, they weren't
Yeah,
picked. So,
yeah.
it's not that you have to be annoying to
No,
coaches or to
absolutely.
scouts,
Yeah,
but you need to
no,
develop those relationships with people around you. At least that's something that we've found.
absolutely. No, you got to be likable for sure. You can't be the dude with his headphones on in the corner. I agree with that. Um, that is I think that's really important. I think also what I wish I would have had is a more developed, and this is kind of, Fruity, everyone talks about social media, but seriously, most of the guys like Pime, that's what they get most of their information from is social media. So if you got an underdeveloped social media that doesn't represent you well, then it's going to be difficult for you. And I think I would have had a much easier time going into it, having someone already interested in me if I had more of a developed, Instagram with videos of my training, of who I actually am, especially coming from being new on the CrossFit scene. And I don't have like a bunch of accolades. I haven't been to the games. So I needed to have, where they could actually look at me before going in.
Well, it's a growing sport, and they want ambassadors of the sport, which is another reason why you can't sit there with your headphones on and everything. Like, you have to be someone who's willing to talk to people, engage with the audience, and then also have social media so you are a good ambassador of the sport and can get the word out to a ton of other people. So that's really great advice. And actually, the NPGL that we heard before, during the first week of matches, I think it was, they had a whole presentation on social media and how to represent yourself on social media, which I thought was pretty awesome. And speaking of that, what is your Instagram and social media handles?
Yeah, so Instagram is Tyler_Cummings 7. And then Facebook, I think, is the same thing. I've got a page. Just look up Tyler Cummings. And then Twitter, I don't use Twitter too much. I kind of send everything from my Instagram. I'll press, Twitter too. I'll share it with Twitter. Haven't really gotten on my Twitter game. I know I need to, but
we have a Twitter for our account, but it is awful. It was my job to do it, and I just stink at it. I hate Twitter. Like I will, and I shouldn't say that because now people really won't follow us on Twitter.
I know, right?
But they do on Instagram and on Facebook. So we just leave it at that because Twitter, I just can't quite wrap my head around it. So anyway,
I hear you too.
I want to say thank you for joining us on the show. I really appreciate it. Good luck at Wadapalooza and preparing for the next season of Grid. So thanks a bunch.
Thanks a lot, Danny.
Make sure you follow him on Instagram at Tyler_Cummings7. All right. Thanks a lot, man. Have a great day.
On. Thank you.
All right, bye.
Later.
We love to lift, laugh, and improve. This is Björk Odinsdatter.
All right, guys, we're going to wrap it up tonight. We still got Grid Friday going on here at CrossFit Impavidus, and I'm sorry if I'm yelling into the microphone. It's because
you're blowing out my eardrums.
It's so loud in here, man. We got music and people screaming. You guys got to try this at your gym. Great interview with Tyler Cummings. Thanks for coming on the show.
Yeah, and to come up, so we have some Baltimore Anthem athletes, and Garrett is going to be coming on the show in a couple weeks. He's going to talk about what Baltimore is doing in the offseason. There's some big changes that he promised me. So he's going to talk about that pretty soon. That's pretty exciting. And then also, guys, head on over to gridshapetraining.com. Again, it's gridshapetraining.com. Let Nicole Capurso from the Miami Surge help you get into grid shape by her nutrition program.
It's been a crazy a response that we've seen with that.
We have people from South Africa, from Australia, from Colombia,
and it's closing up quick.
Oh yeah, there's only 20 spots left, something like that right now. Just for a few minutes ago, we checked it. Look, by the 21st, we shut it down, and either that or when the 20 spots are up. So if you want in this program, which trust me, you do, you head on over to gridshapetraining.com. That's enough plugs.
All right,
guys. Till next time, clean up your jerks and snatches, drink your beer in batches, and always dominate your grid matches. See you guys.
Cheers.